Okay, forget about all those flashy tech startups and complicated algorithms for a second. What if I told you the path to incredible wealth is actually paved with things we see every single day, things we barely even notice? Yeah, we're talking about the simple, the mundane, the downright boring. Let's dig into how that actually works.
Right, this is the core idea we're going to unpack. It's a super powerful and honestly a kind of counterintuitive claim that real sustainable wealth isn't about inventing the next big thing. Nope, it's about mastering the things that are already here, the necessary services and assets that people rely on day in and day out.
So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? In this explainer, we are going to break down the exact models, we're going to look at real-world examples and pull back the curtain on the playbook these entrepreneurs use to turn something totally ordinary into something extraordinary.
So when you really look at these boring businesses, they pretty much all fall into two main categories. And understanding the difference between them, that's really the first step to seeing the opportunity here.
It really just breaks down into these two main types. So first up, you've got your property-based businesses. This is where physical assets, like machines, are generating the cash flow. These are fantastic for earning thousands per month. And then on the other side, you've got service-based businesses, where it's all about people and systems doing the work. These usually have much lower starting costs and the potential to scale, well, into the millions or, even billions.
All right, let's dive into that first path, property-based businesses. This is where your assets are out there in the world, literally earning money for you, sometimes 24/7. You gotta hear this story. So there's this guy, Paul Alex, a retired police officer from San Francisco, and he just wanted to supplement his income. So back in 2018, he buys his first ATM for just over $2,000 and sticks it in a local nail salon. That one machine, you know what it did? It started bringing in $500 of pure profit every single month. And his method? It's a perfect playbook for a low-risk approach. Paul didn't just quit his job and bet the farm. No way. He started super small, proved the model worked with that one machine in a place where he knew the owners, and only then, only after he saw the results, did he start to expand. By 2021, he had over 30 ATMs and was making enough money to retire. Simple as that. The laundromats. It's the classic example of what we all think of as passive income, right? You just buy the machines, people put their quarters in, and you show up with a bag to collect the money. Well, it's not quite that simple. The reality is you're still on the hook for all the maintenance, the cleaning, and, most importantly, finding the perfect location. But here's the crazy part. Even with all that work involved, laundromats have a staggering 95% success rate. That's nearly double the average for a small business. So while it's definitely not set it and forget it, it is a remarkably stable and proven model.
Now here's a business you probably haven't thought about. Picture this, your factory's main air compressor just dies. Your entire operation grinds to a halt. A new one? It's going to take weeks to get here. So what do? You find a local company that can rent you one, like today. And you'll happily pay a premium for it, maybe $500 a day, because that's way, way cheaper than shutting down your whole business. That's the power of equipment rental.
And here's the real kicker. It is incredibly tax efficient. If you go out and buy a piece of equipment for, say, $100,000, you can often write off the entire purchase price against your income. So if you earn $60,000 renting it out in that first year, that income can be effectively tax-free. It's a huge advantage that most people just don't know about.
So okay, property-based businesses are amazing for cash flow. But if you're dreaming bigger, if you want to build a truly massive company, you got to look at our second path, service-based wealth. This is where you learn how to scale your skills.
See, service businesses are a different beast. Their main asset isn't a machine, it's knowledge, and it's a repeatable system. What that means is you can often start with way less cash, and if you get that system just right, well, the sky's the limit for scaling up.
This quote just nails the service-based advantage. It's talking about a guy in rural Alabama who ran an emergency tow truck service. But he was smart. He figured out the real money wasn't in towing cars, it was in towing broken-down 18-wheelers. And he was the only guy on this long, lonely stretch of highway who had the right equipment. That made him absolutely indispensable.
Or just look at waste management. Trash. Patrick Dovigi, a former hockey player, started his company GFL back in 2007. He didn't invent trash collection, right? He just started out by managing a few small local companies, and then he used really smart acquisitions to expand. He won a huge contract in Toronto, and that little local business just exploded into a multi-billion-dollar empire. Think about it. Every single home and business needs their trash picked up. It's an essential, massive market.
Okay, so we've seen the two paths, we've looked at some pretty powerful examples, but what do they all have in common? Well, it turns out there's a simple, repeatable playbook that kind of unites them all.
Let's call it the cash flow checklist. Just 3 simple rules. First, start lean. Your initial focus has to be on how little you can spend, not just how much you can make. Second, get going fast. You need to validate your idea before you sink a ton of money into it. And third, and this one is absolutely crucial, compete hyper-locally.
Let's take step 1. Start lean. There's a guy who started a window cleaning business with literally just a squeegee, a bucket, and some soap. Today, that same business pulls in $10 million in revenue with 40% net margins. That means he's clearing $4 million a year from an investment that was practically nothing. That right there is the power of starting lean.
And to really understand step 3, you just have to look at Domino's. They didn't try to be everywhere all at once. Back in the 60s, they focused on one single college town, and they perfected their model for fast, affordable pizza delivery right there. It was only after they had completely mastered that one local market that they used that exact playbook to expand nationally and then, eventually, globally. So it all comes back to this one central idea. Don't try to conquer the world on day one. Your job is to find a small corner of it that you can completely, totally own.
This is without a doubt the most common mistake people make. They get a little taste of success and immediately they spread their time and money way too thin trying to expand. The lesson from every single one of these success stories is the exact opposite. Focus. Become the absolute best at solving one problem for one specific group of customers in one specific area. Master that first, and then you can think about growing.
So that's the thought I want to leave you with. Just look around your own community. What's inconvenient? What service is just not that great? What everyday problem is just sitting there waiting for someone to solve it? Not with some complex invention, but with a simple, focused, and a beautifully boring solution.